Hey, Monster Forge here again. I got this. It's a bag. Cool. See you next time. No, I'm kidding. There's something in here. And it's more than a smile. Amazon. I watch you pee. Anyway, I got something off of Amazon the other day because I felt like it was a pretty good deal. I like to... I get gift cards every once in a while for Amazon and just kind of keep putting them in the account there and let it accrue over a while. And I did a lot of Christmas shopping and had something left over in my Amazon account. So I started looking through really cheap crap I might could use. Is this a cheap crap I shouldn't have bought? We'll find out because the reviews on these things ain't so hot. But I saw potential in them, not for what they were, but what they can be. These things, I know what these are. This is actually a bootleg of something that was a toy from, I want to say it was like Mega Bloks made these or somebody. I bought one years ago and it came in like this little chest with this kind of silicone type net around it or whatever. If you guys know what that toy line was, let me know. When you see these, you'll recognize them but it was like a skeleton with vampire wings on it that were bony too, and it was just really cool. And I found a set of these because I remember back in the day finding those suckers in stores was hard as all get out, and then later on looking for them online, like trying to find out what they were called was tough. So I don't even know. But if you know what these are, let me know and I'll do some research. And if I find out, I'll put it down in the description right down there. But I'm going to open this up and we're going to see how bad they are. The pictures, the sculpts look the same as the original toys, but the paint's bad. Like it's probably going to kill me. But anyway, I want to show my address on here. How do I get this started? Okay, just to let you know, I am unbagzinating it. Who am I kidding? Just tear. Alright, there we go. Whoa. Huh, they're bigger. These are bigger than the ones I had before. That's a bonus. Alright, so these are Halloween horror. Say, are you going to focus at some point today? Halloween Horror Toys Destroyer Series. What does this say? Halloween Ghost Series design a variety of scary ghost styles. Experience the feeling of super stimulation. Oh, I'm gonna. It is suitable for children and adult interaction and construction jointly improve hands-on ability. Well, it's good to know that werewolves and vampire bats and zombies and skeleton mans, they can help me improve my hands-on ability. Muquastari's monster. Yep. Cool. So let's get these suckers open. Is it a bag within a bag? Is it Inception bagging? Nice. So let's Inception bag this guy here. I have a feeling these were produced in the finest factories in China. There we go. That's what you get. It's the Destroyer series. Now I love bootleg packaging. I collect bootleg toys and I love the packaging because you always get wonderful little blurbs like this. And this one isn't that bad. I've seen some of them, it's like, what the heck were they trying to get across? Because, you know, it's a lot of times they're getting students to do the translation, or they're using, you know, like a computer device to translate, and it always comes out ridiculous. There's a website that catalogs all that stuff, but I'm not going to say the name of it because I'll probably get in trouble. I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was a website that, like, English.com, but instead of an L in English, it's an R.com. There you go. It's pretty standard stuff. Halloween Horror Tours. Oh man, I was hoping I'd get a little bit more weird crap on there. But let's open this up and see what we got. Now, most people that have been opening these up have been breaking them immediately. And some of them have been coming in the package broken. This does not deter me from liking these things because I'm not planning to keep them together. I'm planning to take these puppies apart. Oh, I think these are even better plastic than the ones I had originally. Because I remember the ones I had originally, they were they were kind of gummy or like rubbery. And so they were like, let's see, the wings. Oh yeah, that's much better. The wings on the one I had before was kind of gummy. But anyway, people are getting these things and like they go to turn the joints or whatever and just yank the joint right off. Like the plastic breaks. Now these, they even have the opening jaws and all like the original ones did. That's pretty sweet. It's got ball jointed elbows, shoulders. They've got connection points here on the back because the part of the thing with these toys originally, from whatever toy line they were from, they came in that box and they were all in pieces, and you put them together. So like I'm risking this right here because people have been tearing these off. But yeah, like they would come in the package all in pieces, and you have to put them together. Is there any stress on that plastic so far? No, not yet. Probably will be. Boy. There we go. Got it on there. But the thing is, whenever any toy that you buy, and this is a little tip, if you're, if you just happen to watch this and you've never collected toys or never bought toys or don't remember the toys you bought when you were a kid, always move the joints of a figure with care. Like I haven't moved this tail yet. I know it's a joint, but you just want to gently. And if you feel any resistance, what can happen sometimes is whenever they're making toys and they paint them, sometimes they paint them after they're assembled, and that paint will go down into the joint and it will do what they call freezing a joint. And you can go to turn it and it will not move because it's essentially glued in there. And what you'll do is you just rip the peg right there at the bottom of that peg on that ball joint there. And you've got a broken toy. And you can fix it if you know how. It requires a hand drill and a piece of wire or plastic and some super glue. But yeah, it's easy to avoid it by just being very ginger when you first get it. And I always try to rotate a joint all the way around to make sure it's not catching. And that way you can, like this guy right here, he's good to go. Now you'll see his wings are like bent out of whack here. That's real easy to fix. What you do is get you some hot water. It doesn't have to be boiling. Well, you can if you want to. It's not going to hurt it. But you get you some very hot water. And right next to the hot water, what I usually do is I get like our water heater makes our hot water is very hot. And so I get a bowl of the hot water. And right next to it, I might have explained this in a video before, but I'll do it again. Right next to it, I have a bowl of ice cold water. And it's really important to get it as cold as you can. And what you do is you get it hot and it'll get really rubbery. This is PVC. And it'll get really rubbery. And once you get it to the shape you want, like straighten out like that, you hold it and dunk it into the ice cold water. And what it does is when you heat it, you're exciting those molecules. And they start moving, and like we can't see the molecules moving, like everything's moving all the time, just at different rates. And what you're doing then is you're exciting the molecules and you're getting them to kind of spread out a little bit, and then you dunk it in that cold and it freezes them in place and it will hold its shape. If you just get it hot and shape it and everything, it will eventually go back, because that's the nature of plastic with plasticizers in it. It's that it's flexible and all, but it holds its shape. That's why when you squeeze something like this, it doesn't stay squozen. It will eventually it will eventually go back out to shape. But anyway, there's a lesson for you that you didn't even know you needed or wanted. You probably didn't want it. But yeah, this guy's really cool. He's like a gargoyle. And I don't know, like they were fussing about the paint, but this one looks really good. Like, it's a little sloppy around the face, but I mean, that's not bad. This kind of looks like the same. You know, I think I had a couple of these guys. I know I had the skeleton dude, and I want to say I had the gargoyle too. Very cool. And I like how his legs are splayed out, so you can pose him like he's, you can't really see it from that angle, but you can pose him with the hand down like he's coming at you. And what would be really cool is, like, if you've got like a smaller Batman figure, you could glue this guy's arms and all in place, or you don't even really have to glue it, but you know, if you want it to be like a statue and put it on a block or whatever and have your Batman standing right there, because that was always like the classic look for Batman, was standing over a gargoyle looking out over Gotham City. He's cool. All right, now this is the other guy I had, and this is the guy that a lot of people have been breaking in all the pictures on Amazon. And I'm gonna take his wings off because they're kind of bent and in the way. But look at this guy. Like, he's not a look. And see, like I said, I'm very gently turning that joint because a lot of people get this thing, and I can see where it's like the peg, the ball in there. It looks like maybe the way it's molded, it's thicker on one side than the other. And I notice there's some resistance right here, and people just probably yank it right off because it's probably frozen up in there. But you just slowly turn it all the way around its rotation, and it's free. Like, that joint is now free. Any paint that was in there, and then look at it. He's like, but he's cool. Like, it's a nice sculpt on this guy. Just turning it all the way around. If you feel any resistance in a joint, there's a little bit of resistance there. Just work it. Bump, 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 bump. Work it. Bump, bump, bump. But, you know, you work that joint around until it goes freely all the way around. And sometimes what you can do, some people, I've known of people, if the joint is like frozen like that, you can take it and do the same thing like with the where you straighten out the plastic with the heat and cold. Some people do that, where they heat it up and it kind of excites the molecules, and then you can move it like that. Sometimes that helps. It helps loosen up the paint that's in there. Like, this joint right here is still pretty tight, so I got to be careful when I move it if I don't want to break it. Don't look at me, I'm hideous. But yeah, and let's see. That one's got a little resistance on it too, so there's probably some paint gunked up in there, and you can see, like, they washed this really sloppily. This was done in, you know, like a sweatshop somewhere, I'm sure. And he's also posed like he can stand, like, you can stand them really well because they got that balance point that they use in the front. These are really cool. Like, the paint apps are really good on this guy. I've seen the paint apps on the zombies in the pictures, and they look rough. We'll get to that in a minute. But, and you know, I can fix that jaw too. That's another case of where it's warped from being smushed into a bag. But yeah, like this joint right here, you want to be careful. Like, if you can actually, when you break one of these joints, you can actually see when it breaks. You can see where the little fibers, it's not really fibers, but it's like little what am I looking for? Little air pockets inside of the plastic. You can see where it's actually like twisted off. Because I've done it before. Everybody's broken a toy in their life. And I started noticing when I was a kid that if I ever twisted a joint off, you can actually see, it's almost like whenever you cut a tree and there's like rings inside the tree, it's almost like the same thing in the plastic whenever you do that. And let's see, yeah, that's getting there, but it's not something you would want to yank one direction or another. This one's, yeah, that one's good. That one's good to go right there. But this one's still, you got to be careful because at this point, twisting this, yeah, it's twisting a little bit. So I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see. Or not. It's moving the actual peg itself. So I'll heat that up and fix that. But he's like a winged skeleton or just a skeleton. Like you can trim those little nubs off if you need a posable skeleton, dude. All right. Now this is one I've only ever seen pictures of. I never had this one. But he's cool. Or did I have this one too? You know what? I don't know how many of these things I had back in the day. But it's Die Fledermaus. It's a bat. I'm a vampire bat. His paint's kind of rough. But thankfully, I don't really care about the paint because I'm going to be using these guys to make something down the road. And he's got exactly the same body as the bat, as the gargoyle. And I think it shares parts with, like, there's a werewolf too. And the werewolf he's all, oh, now this is really loose. This ball joint is really loose in there. And that's something you can fix. If you got a ball joint on figure and you, if you've got a ball joint on a figure that's loose, you can, if you can get the part off of the ball, you can take super glue and just coat the ball itself. Don't get it, work with me. Don't get it on any of the joints, but if you can get the super glue just on the ball, what I like to do is I like to turn it upside down like that so that any of the super glue will, if it does run, it runs down. And you just build up a little layer, kind of like a candy coating of super glue. You can do the same thing with nail polish. And sometimes I'll use super glue if it's a ball joint. If it's a hinge joint, you know, like an elbow on a figure is a hinge joint, I'll use floor polish. And I'll get the name of the floor polish that I use now. It used to be it was Pledge with Future, but Pledge is like, it's not the same product anymore, or the line, like the company closed down or something. I don't know what it is, but Pledge with Future is not available anymore. But there's another one, and I can't, just off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it now, but I'll put it down in the description. And that stuff is fantastic for making joints tighter. And all you got to do is you take the floor polish, and the floor polish is not as likely to glue a joint as super glue will. Like when I say that about putting that little bit of super glue on the ball, put it on there and make sure it's completely dry before you put the part back together. Because if you don't, you have just made a statue out of your figure. Because super glue inside of a ball joint, you ain't going to be able to use it at all anymore. It will seal it up and make it permanent. So you put the drop on there and, like, you know, leave it where it's not going to, like, leave it propped up where it's not going to run into another joint or anything like that. And just leave it. Leave it for an hour, 2, 3, whatever. Like whenever I do things like with that floor polish to fix joints, I just leave it and go do something else. And I'll forget about it for a day or two. And with the floor polish, you might have to apply it a couple of times. And all you got to do with the floor polish is, like the joint, you leave the joint together and you just put like a tiny drop, and the floor polish runs. And so the capillary action pulls it right into the joint. And you can, like if the joint's real loose, you can move it around in there and just leave it for a while. And, you know, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes later, move it again to make sure it's not like gluing it together. And then leave it for longer. And you might need to do it a second time to build up the little shell. Because what you're doing with the floor polish is you're building up the shell, you're building up the inside of the socket. And if you're using it on hinges, you're building up the surfaces that are moving against each other and giving it some friction. But with a figure like this, with the ball joints on it, and all of these move really well. They're a little bit looser than I would probably like. But I just do the super glue with these to make them work. But yeah, there you go. And he too has he's got really bad eyes, but didn't want these guys for the paint, more than for the sculpt. And let's see, this is the Mummy. And yeah, the paint apps on him ain't. There's a frozen joint if I've ever seen one. There we go. That little snap that you heard is not the toy breaking. That is the paint snapping loose. And a lot of times when you get new toys, particularly if it's a toy that's got a lot of washes on it, like this is just, they took the plastic and with this one, they put like a dark wash down with paint. It's thin down paint, real thin down paint, and just let it run all over the figure. And they might have even done like wipe it off with a rag. And then they slapped it with some white or sort of tan sand colored paint on top of that to give it a little bit of dry brush. It's really kind of a wet dry brush. Whoa, I didn't realize he had the wing holes, so that means bonus, now you can have a flying mummy. That's kind of interesting. I didn't realize you'd have the holes on there. Does the wolf's back thing come off? Whoa, it does. The wolf's back thing comes off, so you can have it doesn't fit on him, but maybe it'll fit on the skeleton. No, it won't fit on the skeleton. Maybe it'll fit on the bat. There you go. You can have a furry back bat. Or, I didn't even think about this. You can have double bat action. I have all of the wings. I'm sorry. Okay, so there's a mummy, and it's a nice sculpt. I mean, there's a lot of detail in there. I mean, it's not like the cleanest sculpt, but I imagine with a good paint job, this is his job. Oh yeah, his job. I like the way you talk. I think I see one in there right now. Yeah, that's good. It's a good sculpt on this guy. Like I said, I got him for parts, and his joints are like, was this the one that was tight? Yeah, I got it loosened up in there. Good. Yeah, neat. His shirt. Okay, that's why he's got the post on his back, because his little mummy shirt. You know what? I bet he's Yep, it's the same thing they used for the skeleton dude. It's probably even when they originally sculpted it, they probably used the same skeleton bits and sculpted over. Maybe, I don't know. No, they're different. But yeah, that's cool. I think I kind of like him without the shirt more, but just to keep these guys together the way they're supposed to be for this review. Now, the last one is the Awful Zombie. And this one, I don't even remember if this guy was in the original line. Does his jump always... But that's cool, because it's got paint. It's got a lot of, like, you can see where the paint has torn right there, because what they did, they just slapped that with this glossy paint, and the gloss stuff sticks worse than anything else, and it sticks up joints really badly. But yeah, I mean, he ain't. Is it No, it's different sculpts. He looks really grody. He's got the mummy. I think he's got the mummy arms. Yep. Does he have the mummy? Nope, he doesn't have the mummy feet. He has totally different feet and legs and all. He's got a shirt. And see, it's once again, it's badly painted. None of the details are really painted, but he looks kind of weird. Like, but he's a zombie. He's supposed to be like all gumped up and everything. Yeah. So I got this set of all these figures, which for me, this is a great value because I can use parts of these things for stuff I want to make. But I got this whole set for I think it was like $6.99, and it's, what was it? Was it 6 guys? Yeah, 6 guys for $6.99. So they're a little over $1 a piece. Even when you add the taxes in and all. I have Amazon Prime, so I got it shipped for free. But if you like these guys and you want them, if you remember that original line and didn't get all the guys you wanted, this is your opportunity to get them pretty cheap. I'll put the link down below in the description of where I got these guys on Amazon. And yeah, I think it's great. I've been wanting one of these skeleton boys again for a long time, for parts. You know, like I've got one of the originals somewhere in my stuff, but I've wanted one of these Skelly boys, and you know, these other guys too. So yeah, that's a good opportunity to get them. It's the, I mean, you can probably search it on Amazon. It's the Destroyer series Halloween horror toys.